Well, hello there and welcome to Best of Both Worlds. We're finishing the leather quilt today, so stay tuned. Last week we got all of the colored fabrics finished and quilted, and now we're going to do some more wonderful things in the muslin area of this beautiful antique quilt. The first thing I'm going to do is draw my boundaries and let my machine start stitching on that leather. I'm not going to worry about coming up too far into these areas that are pieced with these squares up here. I'm just going to come to the edge of the seam, the long seam here, and the long seam up here. So that'll make, a nice round design, and then I can finish coming up in those areas. By the way, the reason that some of these others aren't pieced is because whoever did this quilt did some piecing, and then she did applique over the top in these other areas. These were all pieced and then appliqued on top of this area, so she doesn't have a lot of piecing in this area. I thought that was quite unique. So I am just going to click right in the middle of these areas, and I'm just using my eyes. Pretty well tell where the middle of things are. And then I can close that off, and let's go over and on the computer screen pick out one of the feathers we like. This feather is a peacock feather. And let's see, let's find our square. There's our square on our screen, and we'll make it a little bit bigger here so you can see it. Moving this around. There we go. And we can actually just drag it right over like that. And then we can just make it the size that we want it to be so it fits in. I know these are not going to go clear over to the edges, but these I want really to go almost to the edge. I'm thinking I might put some really pretty little pearls around the edges of this. I've already kind of got that design in mind. So I don't want it to go right to the edge. I'm assuming that this is probably one of the edges of the one of those little squares. So that's the size that I'm going to do. Now, while I've got that up, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look through my circle patterns. And these are all, I designed these really to go inside of the feathers. Ooh, I really like that one. That one's quite different, although I do like that one. What shall we choose? Well, I like the circles here, so I'm going to drag this over and just make it the right size to go right inside of that circle. And I can make this whole thing bigger so I can make sure that I'm really accurate. See, that could be just a titch bigger now, and just try to make those lines match. There we go. You like that? I think it's awesome. And then I'll be doing some fancy things around it to make it fit into those squares. So I am going to go ahead and push quilt on this so that the machine will start stitching this. And then I want to show those of you who only do hand-guided and don't have a computerized machine, which I didn't for years and years, how to make a feather, because they're very easy for you to make and very easy for you to quilt as well. And you can make them with 4 of these feathers. This one has 8, which I thought fit very well onto the quilt that I'm doing. But you can do 4, you can do 6, 8. I think I have some with 9 and 10. So, and they can get real dense, but they're cool. So we'll draw some of those too while this is stitching out. This is so fun, seeing your freehand stitched out like this. It's just awesome. I still have my pattern on the screen, and we have finished sewing it out, the middle and the outside. But I want to echo this a couple of times, and I want them to be really even. So this time I'm going to use the computer to do that, and I just have to right-click on the design and then come down here to Echo Pattern, and then I'm going to add 2 of them. There we go. So I want it to sew those 2. I don't want it to sew the design again, so I want to tell it to pattern to select that and tell it that that has already been stitched. Actually, I could just take, oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, I can move it out and delete it. There we go. So now I have it echoed 1 time. I'm going to go ahead and start the quilting. If you want to do freehand fleathers, which of course you want to do, and many of you will be interested in this and how I draw these. I've just done a circle there, and I'm going to just divide it. This would, you decide on how many you want. I mean, this would do 4, okay? Or if you wanted to do what we've done here, then you would do 8. And I'm sure you could measure and make these even more accurate. I'm just sort of eyeballing it, just so I can show you. And then, and you know what a feather looks like. I mean, it's like a teardrop, right? And it can be closed all the way off, or it could be open here at the bottom if you're coming across with a circle. So what you'll want to do is make a little circle in the middle, use a circle device of some kind, a pattern, or a tool that you have that's a little circle. And then you're going to just follow these lines up like this and come around and come back down like that. And you'll do that in each of these quadrants that you have. And then as you come back around, then you can do whatever fancy thing you want to do in it. Like we did the peacock feather in here. So you just kind of come up here like this. I'm just going to do a double peacock thing, a teardrop there. And then I'll come back. Looks like my pen's running out of ink a little bit. And then come back up. So you can put something like that in there. So let's just do another one. We'll just pick another one that we have up here. One of the ones that I do that you might like when you look at them all finished are some of the ones that have kind of a little teepee on the top like that. And then you come back in here and you just echo this top. And these are deep echoes, so you fall right back down, right back down, right back down. So you're going like this. And then when you finish, you can come back down, and then you can do something in the center. It could be anything that you want. Perhaps you want to put some feathers inside of it. So let's do some stacked feathers inside of this. How pretty is that? And on your way back down, you might even add stems along here. That will give you some kind of that thread painting look. So you just have, there's just so many ideas that you can do. Now I do have all of my fleathers digitized, so people who have computerized machines don't have to worry about that. But I just wanted all of you to know that you can easily do these freehand, and I've done them for many years, so I know that that's true. And then after that, which is what we're going to be doing now, let's say you actually have a square here. And so as you come up, you can put leaves in here, you can do feathers, you could do all kinds of things to make that fit in the square. It doesn't have to be round. And that's what we're going to do now, is we're going to make sure that we have filled in all around our fleathers and made them fit into the area where we want them to fit. Okay, as I look at this fleather, I can see that there's an open area that comes in between each of these fleathers, and that kind of makes that sun or that star rays. So I don't want to come down inside of here with my little circles. So I'm just taking this tool and putting it here. I can see the crosshairs across it. You probably can't see those, but I can. And so across each of these little areas, I'm just marking it. This is just a chalk pencil. It is just a very light gray to mark on this. There we go. Okay, so now I know that will be even. So what I'm going to do is start with my little circles, and I'll be coming around, and I'll go all the way around the top of it. Now, when you do those, I'm going to be following my the line. I'm going to be stitching right on the line around the edge. And let me show you on paper what I'm going to be doing. So if we have a line here that we're going to follow, all we have to do is come across the line and then back around, and then across the line and then back around to make our circles. And because if we don't think that way, if we just think we're doing circles, suddenly we get E shapes. So they actually have a flat side. They come out with that flat side and then go back around. And that's what I'm going to be doing. And I am in regulated stitch. And I'm just using my hand behind here just to help me guide this a little bit better. After I started these, as I looked at this, I decided I'd like to make sure that I have a nice, large, round, I'm making this a little darker than I normally would, circle to kind of match these other circles right there. So having that reference line there as I'm coming up to this will help me to remember that I'm doing that, and then I can come back and around. So let me start again here. One more here, and then I can come around here all the way. I think I'm just going to put my hand down here behind the machine so I can make nice round circles. There we go. Sometimes you just need a little help. Follow over and then back around. Follow over, then back around. And I'm right over here to my large circle. So I'm going to come around like that, and then I'm going to finish coming down each of these areas to my line. One more. Then I can follow that line back up and start my circles again. So I'll continue going around these, and then we can see what this looks like when I'm finished. Okay, I'm coming down here. I can see I can do 3 more of these. Right to there, and now I'll do my big one. And then I'll come down this side of the feather, filling these in. And then I'll follow the feather up to continue the little long arm pearls around the edge up here. Yay! And of course I choose red thread on white. Well, why not? Makes this better, right? Okay. Look at this now. You're kind of in this designing process with me, because I don't have as much area here to fill, but I sure do here. And I'm thinking some nice deep echoes would be great, but this is a lot of area here. So as I'm echoing, I think I'm going to make this kind of into one of those pointed, just kind of come over with a very gentle curve there, very gentle curve there. And I only have to mark this on 3 of them. looks like I just go up a little bit more than that seam line there and there, and right there, and from here up there. Just a little bit of a curve. So I'm going to echo the first time, and we'll just show you what I'm doing. It's easier just to do it, isn't it? Okay, so I'm following my lines up there. Come clear back down to that seam. Come out here and echo. Then follow this one out. And this one. And echo. But each time I'm echoing, I am not staying away from that seam. I'm going right into that seam. And that's what I call a deep echo. And that's what I want, because that is going to make an incredible texture as I come out. I'll show you what I mean. Okay. Back into that seam, out, up. Keeping them somewhat even. I know they're not perfect. I'm just going to go off the edge of the quilt. I know that's not going to matter on that edge, so. Okay, this next time I'm going around, I'm going to put, let's see, what shall we put in there? Oh, let's do feathers, shall we? Okay, so we're going to come out with a teardrop, like that. And let's bring feathers over here like this to the edge. And we'll just fill these in, right? Look how I can fill all of that in. Now this is going to be the center of that. So I'm just going to make a little curl and then come back. And then I'll come out again. This is the formal feather. Probably will help to have a hand on those back tracks. And I'm just going to kind of make a fancy feather like that for that part. Now I have to get back down to these other areas, so I really need to stop, go down there and bring that feather out from each of those areas. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this one a little bit different. I know that's going to freak you out, but I'm going to come all the way over like this, and then back, and up, and around, and back. This makes it a lot simpler. Over, around, and back. Over, around, and back. I still have to do something there in the middle, so I'm still going to go around like that. And I could trace this line back down because you really can't stack on the way up, but I think I'll stop and start, which I hate doing, but you know, sometimes you have to. So I'll come back down here, and again I'm going to come all the way over here with a feather and bring it back. One more. And out. Looks like two more feathers. One and two. There we go. Now I'm still not finished with this because I think I should fill in these areas as well. And they're on all 4 points. So I think that would really make it stand out. And since I have it divided here with some long arm pearls, I'm going to go back in and put another fern in there. And I'm going to start in the middle like this. And I'm going to do a little texture dot right there in the middle. And then I'm going to come over to the edge, come back, edge, come back. I won't come back all the way here because I'm getting close to the middle. And the middle is going to have one right there like that. And then I can do these on this side. And right there with my texture dot. I love those texture dots. They're just like a little circle that you just fill in. That's going to look really awesome. So I'll do that on all the points, and then we'll take a look at it. Okay, our block is finished, and I'm happy with it. I think it looks really pretty. Changed the entire thing by putting those points into those areas that needed to be quilted. Okay, I just wanted to show you some of the things that I did around some of the other fleathers that I have on this quilt. This one I've just marked very lightly for a reference line to come from this point out to this. It's almost like I'm making another feather right there, which I'm not going to make it yet, but I will. And I'm coming back like this. I am doing the long arm feather, which is just like teardrop shapes. Just having them reach out like that, and over, and over, and over, and then I'm going to follow this line back, and I'll make my another, like almost like the feather shape there. And then these will come out from this one and reach out over into that area. The nice thing about this is you don't have to worry about backtracking. And while I'm here, I am going to make this point on the top of this one again, like that. And in order to get back to where I was, I'm going to do some little tiny swirls across the top of this. And that will add a lot of interest in it as well. I am in regulated stitch. I do not have the belts on my machine, and I am in 14 stitches to the inch. There's our little swirls. Then I'll come back and make my long arm feathers. And at the top, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 to fill in that space. And then these will go clear into those spaces again and back, into the spaces and back, over to that line, over, and then come out and meet on the other side. And I'll have this one finished. Yay! There we go. Okay, on this one I decided to do 2 feathered curls coming up to the top, like that. So, and I've changed to constant now, but I first come in like this, and I'll make a little curl like that, coming around. Let me stop and see how far come. Okay, I'm coming all the way over then to the middle and back to the middle and over into this area and here and here. You can draw this whole thing on your quilt if you want to with your chalk. Now what I did in here was I came down all the way inside with little tiny feathers, sorry. Right down to the middle, and this is going to be a big part of this feather. to show off those little feathers all the way down. You can see already we're getting these rays coming down with these feathers. So on this one, I am putting feathered curls around each of the feathers that are in the points. And let me show you how I do those. I come up like this, and I come over here and make a little curl. And then you really want to fill it in nicely with your feathers. These are the long arm feathers. Reaching out, reaching out. This one's going to reach clear out, but while I'm here, I'm going to do a little teardrop and some curls to fill in that area. And then I'll come back, finish my feathers here. Oh, that's really pretty. And just reach out into all these areas. Some of them are long, some of them are short. That's why they're called long arm feathers. There you go. And then I'm going to continue these right down through this open area, clear to the center. And I love what it's done in that. It has made that just stand out. And we'll see that when we unroll this and look at the entire feather. But you can already see how these are coming out from the center and making that so pretty. Lovely. On this feather, which is so pretty, it has this triple teardrops inside of an Indian feather. I just pre-marked this into a shape there at the top like that, and then I'm going to just do feathers around it. And so I'm going to start right here, and I start with a teardrop like that, and now I'm going to bring those over to the side like that. So these are the stacked feathers, and they're all going to come over to the side of this other one like this. Trying to do it one-handed here. Keep my hand out of the way. Reach right into these areas. And this one is just going to be a long arm feather right there. Then I'm going to go right back up it and make this shape right there. And I could put another long arm feather right there. And I'm going to follow this back down like that. Start with my teardrop here and then bring these over to the side again. Like that. All pretty much one-handed, but I think you could do better with two. Seriously. You know, freehand is not perfect, but it sure is fun to do, and I think it's necessary in so many areas on the quilts. On this feather, I just added feathers on the outside of these where they go into the point. And then I just put these little finger feathers around the side with two little feathers on each side. Thought that turned out really, really nice. This feather has my Egyptian curls in it. And where the negative spaces are where they come together, which just makes the sun look kind of raise. And to make them come into the points, I simply did some of the stacked feathers and added, again, those gentle curves to make it a point, and then just did continuous curve around the outside. This is my fickle feather, and because it changes sides. But I just did deep echoes. Remember that echoing that we did that was really deep as it comes in? And then I did between the first echo and the second echo, I put little feathers in to separate it from the echoes. On this one, I came on the inside and did my U's with pinwheels, which I've done before on other shows. And I also just kind of, instead of just coming to a point, I made it a little more stylized there and then echoed and put swirls inside to make it fit into the place where it needed to go, and then added curls in between each of them. Also, I did come down through to the middle of each of these with my U's. Instead of feathers around this one, I decided to add a curl, and on the curl the ferns are straight and then they start curving and they're interlocked at the top. And we've done that on the other shows, but we'll do it in the future as well. So that's another way that you can make it fit into any space that you want to add ferns around it. This is another type of peacock fern, and I again added the feathers around it. This time at the tops, I just had the two top feathers kind of come together, and that left this beautiful triangular area at the top of each one. That's a cool fern. I just wanted to show you all the ways that you can fill in around these to make them fit in any space that you need, depending on the type of quilt that you're doing. Thanks for watching. I hope that you know what a fleather is now, and I hope that you'll try one. Remember, if I can do it, I know you can do it. See you next time.